Good afternoon. It's Jim with Becky behind the camera, and together we are With It retirees in Beaverton, Oregon. Well, we have come back out into the greenhouse today. It was a terrible morning, but just as we came out here, the sun has come out, so a wonderful thing. What I want to talk about is a huge improvement in heat retention that I've just put into this greenhouse that I want to talk about and show people how you might do it yourself even. The problem I have had with my greenhouse all along is that there are certain pieces of it that were uninsulated, in particular the roof. Once you go ahead and shoot up, it's fixed now, and we're going to talk about it. The roof up here was only one layer thick where the sun comes through, and it let the heat just out no matter what I would do. So I have come through and put another layer underneath it, so I'm now double layered deep, and it works wonderfully. I'm going to talk now about how I did this and a little bit about different kinds of plastics. So let's talk first about there's three basic kinds of polycarbonate, which is what we're using up here. Polycarbonate is the kind of plastic that you want. Trust me on this. They use polycarbonate, among other things, to make bulletproof windows out of. So you can picture how tough it is. It's the same thing. It's the toughest stuff you ever dealt with. This is the sheet form, and these typically, if you want one this particular size, you would have them cut, and it's not expensive to do that. And what I use this for, and a lot of people do also, is storm windows, which in the last video we were just starting to put them up. Now you can see we have storm windows all the way around. We have 15 windows that open in this place. They're not very big windows, so they fit in there. And now they're all got storm windows on them. So anyhow, that's what that stuff is used for. Now let's go on to the next thing. This is a piece of corrugated roofing material, polycarbonate. This particular piece is opal, which is a 90% sunblock, which I use in the summertime on my small greenhouse. Normally on a roof like this it would be clear. So the way this is put on, if you look up, you'll see we have stringers coming down every 2 feet, and then there's a crossbar here. And so at 3 places down, it goes across the beams. And so what you have is a piece like this that goes on this way, and then the polycarbonate fits in the grooves like so. And then the next piece overlaps. You have to overlap one. I kind of like to overlap two, and that gives you a really good waterproof seal. And the other critical factor to remember when you're putting this stuff on, this is the kind of screw you use. It has a rubber gasket in it, you can see. And the critical thing, I would pre-screw them or pre-drill them, but to put the hole on the top. I've seen people come through and do it all the way over on the bottom. The water runs down the bottom, it doesn't run on the top. So wherever you put these, make sure they're on the top end, not the bottom. Anyhow, so I came through and I put these. Another tip is these pieces are 8 feet long that I use. They didn't have to be 8 feet long, but with that I get about a 2-foot overhang. So what I do is I make all my 2x4s are 8 foot, all my corrugated roofing is 8 foot, and they all match out the same. And my sheeting is 8 foot, so I don't have to cut near as much if I do it that way. And what I get also is then I get a 2-foot overhang on either side, which is enough to walk under, and the rain doesn't get you. It rains a lot here, so it's a wonderful thing. Plus, I'm not a great carpenter, so I don't care if I did a good job putting these windows in or not, because they're not going to leak because there's 2 feet of overhang over them. So anyhow, it's a good deal. So the problem with this stuff that I've been fighting for years is the fact that it has almost no R rating. R rating is how they talk about insulation. The bigger the R, the better the rating. So these have like less than a 1, which is pretty lousy. And the hot air goes right straight up through there. So what I have done, what finally came to me, was I have come back with some of this stuff. This is what they call a double wall polycarbonate, same stuff. 4 millimeter, I think it is, something like that. About a 1/4 inch gaps in here. This comes in 2x8 sheets also. All these sheets of polycarbonate come from Home Depot. So these are 2x8 sheets, and I just simply tack them up there using screws and these little rubber things. The same thing I hold the storm windows on with. You can buy a big box of those. They come with nails in them, and then you pull them out and put your screw in there. You might be thinking to yourself, why didn't I just make the roof out of this stuff? The reason is this stuff is almost impossible to keep from leaking on your roof because the pieces come together with no mechanical means they make a little H thing that they'll fit in, but it's not really waterproof. So I've seen a lot of people do it, but usually in a real dry climate. Anyhow, and by the way, this stuff is incredibly tough too, and incredibly light. It weighs just almost nothing. So anyhow, I went back across. Now what I have is inside of this is an air gap, and it gives me doubles my insulative property. But better yet, between the two roofs, I have 3.5 inches of clearance, and that gap in there is what's going to give me, and does give me, a crazy amount more than I had. So anyhow, one more thing I want to talk about. Everything you see here that's behind wood, including this roof over here, which has a regular asphalt shingle roof on it. It looks just like a normal shed from that side. Has this underneath it. This foam with a reflective is a seriously good insulation. Anywhere on your greenhouse you can get this stuff. We'll put a little up on the ends, but wherever it goes, it's real good stuff, and it's also very cheap. A big sheet of this is 20 bucks or less. So anyhow, that's what I have to talk about today. One thing you might want to keep in mind as you're closing your greenhouse up like we are, and you can really feel it's closed up more, is I like to have a carbon monoxide what do you call it? Alarm, I guess it is. And these, I put them down relatively low because carbon monoxide kind of tends to settle down. But if for whatever reason you should be, I'm using this stove right here is on, and the lanterns and things like that. I think it's a good idea to have one. This, we're actually running that today, you can see. That gives off enough heat to rise the temperature in here to 0 degrees. And it's absolutely perfect for coffee. But yeah, that's all I've got for this one. The next one we have out here, it'll probably be colder yet. So we'll see you then.